Oh,
yeah.
We also have her here.
Oh, cool. Okay. What's up?
Nothing. How's she doing?
She's doing good. She's doing good. I feel like she's got her eye on something right now. That's for sure. But yeah, I don't think anything significant to Kirby.
Sure.
No, she's not.
Does she like ball?
Probably the ball.
Those guys are throwing fetch over there.
Yeah,
Throwing,
she loves.
throwing a baseball around.
She does love a good ball.
Okay.
Yeah. She's got. We've been coming here I feel like we come here every night now.
Nice.
And we're just like letting her play and do whatever. So that's been fun.
Nice. Sure.
Working on down in place, which I think is taking like. I can't tell if she's like tired or if she's like listening to my command. That's one thing I think I've been thinking about. It's like, okay, my dog's tired. I tell her down, she stays down.
Gotcha. So like not popping up or whatever? Like
Yeah,
not like breaking or
Yeah, where I'm like, is she just tired or is she not breaking because
she knows not to?
Yeah.
What's when are you in playing it?
You know, we'll take her out, go on a walk as we're like working, doing something. I'll just give her a little spot and she knows to go and like stay in her place. But then, you know, it's the close eyes, fall asleep where, you know, then Luke will come out and then she'll break like an hour later, but it's been an hour. I can't tell if it's
Is she prematurely breaking or breaking because you released her?
prematurely breaking.
Okay, so she's in the down, she falls asleep,
Yeah.
Luke comes in an hour later and she gets up.
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you correct that?
I try to, yeah.
Okay. So what I would do there is that's a good context to use. So dogs can fall asleep and also wake up and remember that they're in the down.
Okay.
Okay. It just requires correcting it. And in this case, like, because it's Luke, and she wakes up like, oh, there'll probably be a lot of
Yeah.
stimulation there. Is like I would say like I would text you like I'm gonna be home in 5 minutes, whatever. So you can set everything up. Ideally, you would shorten the leash and stuff,
Yep.
so that she has less range of motion to make it easier to correct. You'll most likely find it to be hard to correct because you have to not just override the excitement, but get her to go back into position. So having the leash a little bit shorter helps her come to that conclusion, like kind of figure out what to do faster. Until eventually, like, he can come in, she's in the down, sleeping or not sleeping, she knows to not break the position. So when I work with dogs that are like territorial or whatever,
Yes.
I'll tell the owners, I'm like, if you can get the dogs to comply with people they know and trust and are super excited about, the territorial stuff is actually easier.
Okay.
Okay, so I use that to my advantage, you know, so if Luke comes in the home and stuff, I use that to my advantage to keep her contained because she's gonna be super excited. I don't need her to be calm. I just need her to contain. You know, so if she's holding that down and she's like really shaking and wiggly because she's like
She's like, oh my
excited,
God. Yeah.
I make her hold maybe 5 minutes.
Just because you know she's excited. Okay.
Yeah, because it'll make anything else you do behaviorally easy. So much easier. Okay, but it's a challenge when working with like the mom or the dad or people within the household
Yeah.
that the dog is really comfortable with.
Yeah. She did have and this was my fault for not knowing it was about to happen, and it's one of those things where like, we were at Luke's parents' house earlier this morning, and his sister was going to brunch with a friend, and I like heard the door, like she left, and we're like, oh, like Emily's gone. She wasn't actually gone. She brought the friend in, and I was like, oh my God, she didn't even like she knows how his dog is, and
Sure.
she didn't even think and brought this friend in, and like the remote was somewhere, and Kirby had been sleeping, and then, you know, the minute the door opens, this girl suddenly walked in, and I had no idea another human was in the house, and
Sure.
she bolts and she didn't bite her, but like we were almost there.
Sure.
And this girl luckily has like a bunch of dogs, and was like, you know, it was just one of those moments where
Life happens.
I know.
So how did it end up resolving?
I mean, I didn't see it. I was sitting at the kitchen table, and the remote was in a different room. Kirby got up and barked, and that's when I like immediately went up, and I went in there, and at that point, his sister like had Kirby like by the collar, and she seemed to be okay. And it was like, I think it was the immediate, it must have been, because I didn't see it, a jump up, angry barking, you know, and I guess Emily grabbed her, and then she calmed down and realized, okay, like, this person is okay, because after that she wasn't barking, do whatever, and she knew she messed up, because for the next hour she was like, you know, all over me, all over other people, like in the, hey, I'm near you and I'm not gonna hurt you, like cuddly sort of way.
Was she shaking at all?
She was not shaking.
Was she panting? Shit happens.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I've heard.
I know, like,
So you know, it sounds like she goes startled because she was sleeping, right? And then of course,
Yeah.
just the normal territorial behavior and stuff like that. I wouldn't grab a dog by the collar in that state.
Yeah.
You know. Now does Kirby know what's her name? That grabbed her?
Yes,
With
Emily.
Emily?
Luke's sister, she knows well, but Emily doesn't know how to, like.
Okay, so she's comfortable with Emily.
She's comfortable with her, but Emily wouldn't know how to, like, remote her or
Right.
actually deal with.
Yeah, okay,
her
so I was just
domestic
making sure, because, like, if it was, like, the stranger that grabbed her collar, that's where I'm going, like, trying to figure out
Sorry,
how
you
it
don't-
end up settling.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
The girl who knew her grabbed the collar, was keeping her away from the stranger, and then she called her.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff happens, I know. Just one of those times where I'm like, I wish I just knew someone was coming in the house.
Yeah, when I get cases like my more severe territorial, like quite hard cases, I always tell them, like, no one, because I've come into homes where people walk in and house, like, no problem. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that with this dog, because that's why everybody's getting bit, right?
Yeah.
But they're like, but that's how the house is. And I'm like, well, it's either you put your dog down, or you make some changes to the house rules, or you find someone who's going to take your dog, which is probably not going to take your dog because your dog is jacking.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah. We got to get that set up. I sent you the video, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we just got to get the Zoom set up, and then just as a reminder, I would just look at it that way, as a reminder of, like, always be with the collar if it's on.
Yeah, no, it completely is a reminder, and I think just given COVID, I've never been in a situation where someone has just, you know, walked in and I didn't know it, but it wasn't my house. And
Sure. So I'm assuming your sister just forgot, or
you know, if they don't live with Kirby, they don't think about.
Yeah, it's not like a
those
regular
things.
thing.
And
Sure.
like, and to them, she's like calmer, and they can walk in to our apartment or their home and her be completely fine. To where I'm sure they didn't think she was gonna do that, and I'm like, no, we still have the same dog. Like,
Right. But there's still a territorial response.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all normal stuff. So yeah, just think of it as a reminder, and I mean a good one in the sense that nothing happened.
Yeah.
You know. Now I have noticed right now on a couple of, like, the bikes and whatever, like, you take a step back and stuff.
Well, yeah, because I'm like in the middle of the sidewalk and I don't know.
Okay. Is that more for you, or is that because of Kirby?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think it's partly for me because I don't love a bike just, like, completely coming at me. Are they
Sure.
gonna hit me? You know, I don't trust, like, kids.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's also partly for her where she's still really been good with bikes, but occasionally on a run, it's usually the rollerbladers, to be honest.
Now it's rollerbladers.
I mean, it's definitely the rollerblade. I mean, skateboarders, like, no, we're still, like, very, very nervous of those, and so that's why I think about it to where it's objects coming at her. I think she's okay, but I still am, like, aware.
Yeah, so what I do is every time I see something, because I'm watching you and I'm watching her, and I see you step back and I look, I'm like, I'm assuming it's the bike, and I look at her, like, she's been completely unfazed right now.
Yeah.
So that's why I was checking. I'm like, is it you, or is it you and Kirby that you're doing the step back, right?
Yeah, I think it's both.
But what I would, for the skateboarders, what you can do is, I know there's a skate park in Grant Park over by Roosevelt in Michigan.
Yep.
That I've worked with clients there, where they'll go and they'll expose the dog. Now that is very different from going to where there's a bunch of skaters and then a random skater.
Like a single.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a very different context.
Yeah.
But what happens is it sets the foundation for, like, let's say she does have her moments and you correct her at the skate park. You're putting that foundation of, you're going to see these things and we're going to settle you down so that when it comes to the one-off, much easier to dial down because it's familiar. It's already been done. Okay, because when you don't have controlled context, it sucks.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
and I even had a skateboard that I bought and I would bring, and like the dogs would never do anything.
Oh yeah, because they're like, oh,
It's Jesse on a skateboard.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so that's one possibility. There's also one in Logan Square, actually, just by our facility.
Okay.
There's like a skate park that's underneath like the expressway and stuff. But the one downtown for sure is like pretty popular. They're like all around the neighborhood, going up and down like Roosevelt and stuff, because they're going from the train to the skate park. So if I have a dog that's skateboard reactivity, that's typically where I recommend people go to like practice and stuff.
Yeah, because we'll do that. And I appreciate too whenever it's never the one skateboarder coming down the street. It's
Parade.
Or no, it's just that she's already like by the lake where also she's distracted by like there's little dogs off leash by the water. She wants to also swim. Like she just stares at water and is like, she loves to swim so much. She's like, can we go swim? Can we go swim?
Sure.
So she's thinking about that, and then like a skateboarder comes by, and I think it's just an overstimulation.
Okay, you can tap for the looking at the water.
Okay.
Yeah, you can tap to disengage her. Like if you look at a ball or a squirrel, if it's something you don't want, and it's not gonna make her hate the water.
Yeah.
You're just like, hey, we're doing something right now, and because you're correct. Like that can happen where she's just stacking on stimulation.
Yeah.
Or like she's so focused on the water that the bike or skateboard or whatever catches her off guard because she's so engaged with the water. Then this happens, and then you get that moment. So yes, you can tap for the staring at water. She should redirect to whatever's going on at hand. If she doesn't, you may have to play with the number a bit, and then see if that affects the reactivity towards like the random bike or skateboard.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Also, a random question about e-calls in general. I'm sure this is Googleable. I know it's waterproof, but if she's like swimming and playing in the water, like I can still tap it and it's not gonna like hurt her more.
You do have to check out. Some dogs do become more sensitive.
Okay.
Some dogs become less sensitive. Okay.
Is it just like almost like reassess? Just if it's swimming, we're just doing the same quickly sort of
Correct.
reassessment. Like
What's your working number?
Yeah.
Like type. Like yeah, exactly. You know.
Okay.
It's never been an issue. I've only ever had one client pose an issue with the e-collar getting wet because she didn't close the tab and water got in, and what happened is it started to misfire. So then she took the collar off, let it dry or whatever, and then the collar was fine.
Okay.
So that's the only, and that's one time in like 8 years, 10 years of working with the e-collar that someone's told me they had an issue.
Yeah.
The only other thing would be because there's moisture, if it's a hot day and she's got the body heat, that there will be like a buildup of heat between the box and the skin, that I recommend you do rotate. Instead of every 2 hours, I'll do like every hour, so that we don't get that buildup of heat. Because I did have another client that didn't rotate their collar, and then I guess the moisture and the heat and everything, there was like kind of like a rash that scabbed over and stuff.
That's what I think one time I didn't know until later to like take it off and let it dry because she had the little sores and so they're scabbed and healed.
Yeah,
So
they heal up, scab falls away, fur grows back, everything goes back to normal. So if it's like she's going to be outside for a long period of time and she's going to have a collar on, every 2 hours we rotate.
Okay.
You can do more, but that's the general rule of thumb is every 2 hours.
Okay.
If she's going to be in the water or she's going to be wet 20 degree, then I suggest every hour. Okay. Other questions? Do you have a tap here? Yep. There you go. There was a tiny little pucker once everything left, but it was tiny. Okay. And lightly pull up. Yep. Good. Anything else?
nope. That's it.
All right.
Summary of the week.
So yeah, nothing out of the ordinary, you know. So we've covered. Did we cover all the obese now? We got the place, the down, the stay. We covered stay, correct?
Yeah, we did.
Stay?
Stay in the swing around.
Oh, actually, no, we didn't.
I was like, nope,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Okay, then we'll
Yeah.
cover that today. Okay, and we can keep her on the short leash then. Anything else before we get started?
What, just, I guess, quickly, because this has been going as well as it has, we've started to, we usually go sort of off hours here, like late at night or early.
Oh, yeah.
And she's off leash and we'll throw the ball around, it's all been good. And sometimes other dogs are doing the same, and she's been great. I mean, she's generally great with other dogs. Like, we're not really concerned at all. But if we were to start, like for example, there's this cool sort of off-leash wilderness kind of area, and we're up in the suburb where my parents live. So we've been thinking about taking her there. I'm not concerned about it. Obviously, with collar on, off-leash, is there any reason I should be concerned about that while letting her go, or anything you would flag if it's going to be like
just
a larger
that,
off-leash?
is it like prairie wolf?
Yeah.
My only concern is not having a visual. You know, because my other trainer, Maddie, she goes up to prairie wolf regularly with her dog off leash, and from the pictures I've seen in the video and stuff, it kind of seems like there's some brush sometimes. So like if I'm like, let's say she's off leash and she's loose, right, and she's ahead of me, but there's brush here and she turns and I don't have visual, like that's my only thing would be just visual.
Okay.
So because you don't know what's on the other side of the brush.
Yeah.
Right. So that with off leash, so you have your commands, and commands, it's like come here, right here. And a client just asked me like the other day, she was walking with her dog off leash, and she's like, I didn't want him all the way here, right? But I didn't want him so far away, so like, what do I do there?
Oh yeah.
Right? So all you do is actually you go lower on the collar, and you give a tap, and then what you should see is her coming closer, but not completely. So if her number's, let's say 35, I'd go down to 10 to 15. And if she goes too far that way, I just give a couple of taps on 10 to 15, and I watch her respond. And what you should see is she'll come into your circle, but she won't return all the way. But she'll, like if she's sniffing the ground, she'll just kind of come in closer, but still sniffing the ground. So what you're saying is too far without verbally saying too far.
Come a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you accidentally do an overhit or like tap right at your typical number,
She'll come right
if
here.
you get a full response, I don't praise it. Because then if you praise them, they're thinking, I'm supposed to do this. And really that's not it at all. I just want them to come in closer. They just misinterpreted it.
Got it.
Okay, so like if I tap them and I do an overhit or whatever by accident, or they overcompensate and return all the way, I ignore them, I just keep going, and they're kind of like, all right, well, I didn't get praise or whatever, so the next time I tap them, less likely they'll move in all the way, they just know they're coming closer. I don't cue it, I just tap, because I'm trying to build a natural kind of radius in the dog's head of how to stay close to you, and I just achieve that with just the remote, no words. Otherwise, you'll always have to stay closer, or whatever your cue is, every time she's too far. So other than that, if you don't perceive any issues, I just don't like not having a visual.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine. Okay.
Well, the good news is that actually when we have taken her to big off-leash areas, she usually likes to run only as far as she can see us.
Sure.
So it might actually work well, the visual piece. She usually likes to keep us in make sure she knows where we are.
For sure. Okay. Yeah, I think it'd be perfectly fine. Anything else?
No.
Right. I gotta go to Prairie. Have you been to Prairie? Prairie Wolf?
Is it like you go in, it's a field and a lake, and there's the prairie over there, or is it all
We've been
prairie?
there.
Yeah, I just know it's in. Yeah, I just know it's like 10 minutes from us. It's in the same little suburb.
It's like in Skokie-ish area.
It's in.
You're looking at me. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't even know. I don't know Chicagoland suburbs yet.
It's in Lake Forest. What I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think that's kind of in the area. I think Lake Forest is more north of Skokie. But yeah, I want to go there. It looks nice.
Yeah, it is.
Field trip?
Yeah, it is. It is called Prairie Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Lake
I'll
Forest.
take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so what we're gonna do is the stay command. I teach it a bit different or apply it differently than most people. Most people go sit, stay, down, stay, play, stay, right? Whereas I just say sit down and place. Stay is implied, and we create the implication through correction. And with the stay, the only time I use it is when the dog is already in position.
Okay.
So like let's say we go into a heel, Kirby automatically sits when we stop, right? So that's not a sit, it's a heel,
The heel.
right? So if I were to move again, her inclination is most likely going to be follow. So that's where I use the stay command, because then it's you don't move, I'm going to move. Okay, because she's already in the sitting position. So we can't say sit because she's already doing that.
Yep.
You could say down technically now because we have that command, but we're going to work on just teaching that stay. Okay, so like let's say Kirby on her own time were to be like laying down on her dog bed, and we don't care. But then it's like, we're gonna like move stuff around. We don't want her to get in the way. That's when you would say stay, because she's already in the position of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we wouldn't say place, we would just say stay. Because I've heard of other trainers tell my clients to remove their dog and then send them. to the place to like trigger it. I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. But that's right. That's how I use the stay word. Okay. So we're gonna start from the heel position. We're gonna make it really simple to start with, and then we'll just build it up. Okay. So you're gonna put her in the heel. To slow down. She's gonna auto sit. You're gonna take your left hand, it's the one closest to her, and just gonna go stay. And don't worry about if she's got visual or not. Okay, like don't worry about this focus before you give the cue. Even if she's looking this way, if you say stay, she sees the peripheral, like something happening here. You're gonna pivot out with your right leg to face Kirby like this. Okay, and then you're gonna step back in to her side.
Just like this.
Exactly like that. Okay, and you're gonna do that. You're gonna wait a moment, and then back to her side. A little bit of praise. Go into the heel and repeat that 5 times. Okay.
Okay.
When you're stepping out, if Kirby does flinch or move, you're gonna have your leash shorten and left hand, so that when you do this, you can pull up and tap to reposition her.
Okay.
Wait a moment. She might lay down because we covered down last week.
Yep.
Up, tap, correct her to the sitting position. Wait a moment. Then complete your movement, and then back to her side. Good girl. Heel and forward. Okay. And I'll coach you through it.
Okay.
Questions?
I think so.
Oh, wait, she's on the right side, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going back.
I know, because I was like thinking through. I'm like, well, he's saying this, but I think
Yes,
we'll do it.
you're swinging out with your left leg. Then. You swing with the leg opposite to away from Kirby.
So okay, so you're coming like this.
Exactly.
Wait, so I'm facing her. So now I'm like, I'm doing this.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
That's correct. Yeah. The leg away from Kirby.
Cool.
So in advanced training, left leg means move with me, right leg means you stay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Heel.
Good.
Stay.
So right here, right? So press the down, up, right? Wait a moment. And when you do your swing out, I'm gonna have you put some space between you and her.
Okay,
So it's
yeah.
a big swing out.
Yep.
And then when you're ready, back into position. Wait a moment. And heel.
Should I just go this way?
Yep, either way.
Heel.
Right. Yeah, correct that first.
Stay.
Right, wait a moment. Up.
Nope.
Yep, good. Relax, wait a moment. Right. Now go ahead and take a step back. And what you're gonna do here, up, tap, 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 up, keep it up. Tap, tap, keep it up, tap, and relax right there. What you're trying to prevent here is Kirby moving to you.
Yeah.
Because for the past few weeks, tap has meant
Yeah, exactly.
come to my
Come to
side
me.
or return to me. So when you do that, you're trying to, because you saw how she kind of scooted in just a little bit?
Yeah.
If she completes that, she's going to think that that's what you wanted, right? So when you step back, you're also, when you're pulling up, you're trying to keep her away from you.
Yep.
So if she tries to move forward, you can just keep her at bay. If she jumps up, it's because of frustration, because she's thinking this.
She's trying to bite the leash.
That's normal, yeah. Because the frustration's got to go somewhere. So that's why you just keep it up.
Yep.
Even if she bit the leash, I just keep tapping, and eventually she's gonna learn like that's not what I'm supposed to do. She'll relax, then you relax with her, then you wait that moment, and then you go back to her side. Okay? So back to her side. We're gonna try that again.
Heel.
Good.
Stay.
Right there, and wait a moment. Up, tap, 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 and relax. Take a little step back. There you go. Right there, that's good. Back to her side.
Good girl. Do I praise her? No.
I would do moderate praise
Okay.
though.
Good job.
Because you're wanting stationary. So if you're like,
Yeah, I know.
you're creating excitement, hard to stay still when you're excited, okay?
Okay.
We're gonna try that 4 more times.
Okay. Heel.
Good. Right.
Stay.
Yep. Wait right there. Good. Let her be awkward. Back to her side. Good. 3 more. Here.
Yeah, she's so frustrated.
Okay. Part of the process.
I know.
Good.
Stay.
Better. But you see how she's looking a little bit more relaxed here? Back to her side. 2 more.
Good job. Good job. Heel. Stay.
Good. Back to her side. And one thing. What are we not doing before we're stopping? The wave. Well, we still need the wave, right?
Oh, the wave. Okay.
But before you stop, you're forgetting something.
I don't know. Tell me.
What do we do before we stop and turn?
Is it the wrong foot? No,
You're not slowing down.
Oh.
You're abruptly stopping.
Yep.
Right? Which is working here because we're in a training session.
Yeah.
But in real life, like she would most likely bypass you because it's so abrupt.
Yep.
Right? So remember to put in those slowdowns before that stop, at least 3 steps.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I'm just waving this hand in front of her.
Yeah, you can do either one. I usually do the one closest to the dog, so I do my right hand.
Okay.
Because when I said left earlier, it was because I was sticking on my left.
Okay.
So like, let's say Kirby was on your left and you're doing a stay, then it would be the left hand, not the right. Okay.
Yeah.
One more.
Okay. Heel.
Good turn.
Stay.
And then correct that first. Wait a moment. That's some skateboards. Some scooters. Right.
Stay.
Up, tap. And you did your right leg there. You want to do the left leg.
But why am I struggling with this so much today?
Well, it's a lot. Now you have to really think about your movements. Good. Back to your side. So right means forward. Right.
Right means forward. This one means stay.
Stay back. Correct. Okay. So let's try that one more time with the correct leg this time.
Okay. Heel. Stay.
There you go. Better. And back to our side. Excellent.
Good job.
So what we're going to do here is another batch.
Okay.
But now you're going to stay, pivot out, wait a moment, and then you're going to do like a half moon circle around the front half of Kirby.
Okay.
Right? So you're just staying on this part of her vision here.
Yeah.
And then you're going to return to the center, and you're going to return to the side.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Go for it.
Heel.
So,
Stay.
okay.
And then just like,
Yeah, and you can walk normally, like around. Yeah, there you go.
like moving around.
Yeah, like that. Good. Bring it back to her side. Good. And I'll have you take up maybe a foot of slack here. That's good. And then 4 more.
Heel. Stay.
Good. Good. Good.
Good job.
3 more.
Heel.
Good turn.
Stay. Good job. Heel. She's just dragging behind me.
There you go.
Stay.
Good. And last one.
Good job. Heel. Stay.
Very good.
Good job.
So now, same deal, but you're going to do a full circle. Now,
Okay.
when you're doing the full circle, I don't know if you saw how Kirby's
Watching.
doing this, right? Is when you start to go behind her, you're
turns
probably
around.
going to see her try to stand up.
Okay.
If we see her keep the butt down, but she pivots like this, it's okay.
Okay.
I ignored that. That will fix itself. But if the butt stands up or lays down, you definitely want to correct that. I would anticipate that she's going to have trouble when you come behind her. So you're going to have to have one of your hands at the center of the leash. So when you're moving behind her, if she does get up, you can stop her and tap her to reposition her, and then continue your motion around. Okay?
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Heel. Stay. Oh wow.
Girl.
Good job. Good job.
Excellent. 4 more.
Heel. Stay. You look so awkward. Back.
Up. Yeah. Good. Better. And now, so don't return her. Do another full circle.
Okay.
Up. Yeah. There we go.
There we
There we go.
go.
Add a girl.
Good job. Heel.
Good. 3 more.
Stay.
Good.
Good job.
Very good. Couple more.
Heel. Come on. Stay.
Good.
Up.
Tap. Right. Good. 1 more full circle. Good.
Good job.
Heel. And then
Heel.
1 last rep.
Heel. I guess I didn't start that goal for her. So. Stay.
Tap.
Up.
Good. Good. Very good.
Very
And what we're
good.
going to do here is we're going to keep her in that state.
Okay.
We're going to go into swap handlers.
Okay.
But if she gets up, we would correct it back into that position.
Okay.
Good. And what we're going to do is we're going to reset because it's not going to immediately transfer to you. So you'll do the stay with that pivot out first.
Yep.
Wait a moment and then pivot back in. And then we'll build back to up where we left off. Okay.
Kirby. Okay. Heel.
Good.
I know, that sucks. Mom.
It's all right. Thank you.
Sorry.
Right. 4 more.
Stay.
Good. Right. Good catch. Excellent. Good. 3 more.
Heel.
Good. Good.
Stay.
Excellent. Last one.
Heel.
I'm like, you guys really should. I always tell her, and I told her that yesterday too, like, you know, about it, because our senior ones, like,
Good. Now you're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do the stay and you can rest that pivoting out and that half circle in front.
Looks exactly like me.
Good.
Heel.
Oddly empty right now.
What's up?
No, I just feel like the park is oddly
Yeah,
very empty
it is.
right now.
Yeah, it is for sure. It was super busy yesterday.
Oh, I bet.
There was a jazz band here. There was 2 of them.
Really?
The guy tap dancing. The girl.
Stay.
Very good. Last one.
Heel.
You wasn't a big fan of that.
No.
Very good. So now we're gonna do the full circle.
Yeah.
So we're gonna add something here. Is I'll have you do a full circle. Come in. You're gonna praise her, but then you're gonna step away again. But she should stay put. Okay. So after you praise and you step away, assume she's gonna make a mistake and have that leash ready to pull up to correct her if needed, and then you'll do another walk around. Okay.
Okay. Heel. Come in and then walk back away.
Yeah. You're gonna pet her, the girl. You're gonna step away like you would, with the left leg, and then she should stay back. Up, tap. There you go. So go ahead and try to walk around again. Good. We're gonna try it again. Come back to her side, praise her. And then shorten your leash a little bit for when you step away so that we can stop her should she try to get up. There you go. She thought about it. That's good. Go ahead and just go back to her side. Good girl. And next. Good. Excellent. 3 more.
She's just so zoned. It's like heel.
Does she pass out like actual training?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good brain workout. That's
Very nice. Very good. Good. Couple more. Good.
Stay.
And the last one.
seemingly more comfortable doing it now.
Because now she's starting to get the concept. Go ahead and pause right there, Luke. So let's try this. Go ahead and tap her into the position again. Also light pull up. Tip. Tip. And I'm gonna have you cut your leash in half and kind of just hold it out like this. There you
Like
go.
this?
Yeah. So when I come in, because you can see the discomfort,
Yep.
her nerves start to go up, and then she starts to curve out like to pivot to see.
Yep.
That we're gonna use, so we're using this to help her contain the nerves. Right? I don't really care about the obedience, it's more so the tapping that's telling her, yes, you feel nervous, but you can't give into it, correct? Up, yeah. So you can see that?
Yeah.
The twitch?
Yep.
There, right there. There we go. Better. Up, tap, tap. And go to get some distance so you're a little bit away from her. There you go. And then there you go. Perfect. Yep. Good. A little bit of distance. And then like a little bit like this. There you go. Tap, tap, tap. See how she's tucking in that leg right there? Come up. Good. See, she licks. Little discomfort there. Good. Relax. Good. Back to her side. Going to reset. Going to a heel. Hi. So we press the nerves.
Yeah.
She kept trying to get away, and then she goes into
Attack.
right to back off. It was like a 0.1 on the Richter scale.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's good.
So the attempt looks worse than what it actually is.
Yeah.
Because I can feel it through here.
Okay.
So when she felt, there was a real very light raise. So when I came in and she goes into avoidance, she tried 3 or 4 times to get away from it. That wasn't her first response.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we were dealing with dogs, I think I may have gone over with you guys where everybody gets anxious, nervous, fearful. People become aggressive, except we don't punch. When we become aggressive, we don't bite.
Yep.
So for dogs, I hated that the dog bites one person, then all of a sudden it's an aggressive dog. Makes sense?
Yep.
I'm like, no. I'm like, something got pressed too much. The dog, we went over the threshold. And the dog was like, I can't avoid you and move away from you, and you keep touching me. Like, back off.
Yeah.
But then even when she did it, she was not comfortable. Like there was nothing there. There was no intent. So this is how I evaluate dogs. Like I have a full bodysuit made of this material.
Wow.
That when I come in, if the dog's bitten people, in order to evaluate if they're aggressive or not, I go by how easily is it for me to get you to get that response. There's some dogs where I walk in and they just attack. Like I just literally just walk in. I don't have to do anything. Just walk in. There's dogs like Kirby who are scared, nervous, anxious, and like I'll step on the leash to trap them because they can't run away, and then I'll close in on them, and then when I go to touch, they're like, right?
Yeah.
And they might go like real quick, but then we call it piano biting because they're just like panicking.
Yeah, it's less like I want to
Exactly.
you, just like I'm getting this energy out.
Correct. Like the dog's trying to do something to fix the situation.
Yeah.
And I get other dogs that I'll put them under pressure and then they give a good bite, and then I'll tell the owner like your dog is biting out of fear, but your dog has no confidence in the bite, or your dog is fear aggressive but has confidence in the bite.
She
There's a lot of
does
variables.
not have confidence in her bite, seemingly,
Yes.
thus far.
Now
You haven't put her in. You haven't actually
put her
on the
in
suit,
full
like,
pressure,
really,
just press the boundaries.
Yeah.
So right there, that's fine. I kept pressing it, and we corrected her, pressed it again. Then when I was petting her inside thigh, like you could see, like it's just like she really didn't want it. I went back by the face again, like I know you just try to snap at me. What are you gonna do now when I'm in the area? And that panting face. So the first time I approached, did you see what happened?
She's kind of just.
She turned, and what else?
Turned to look at you. Yeah, she stopped panting.
She stopped
was just
panting.
like,
Yeah.
Shaking her lips a little bit.
Yes. So open mouth venting stress or anxiousness, whatever. And it's when you see it close, that's tension. So when I started to approach her, she went like, what's going on? Closed her mouth, like I don't know what's going on here. That's the tension, right? Then she started licking her lips, going, that what just happened or what is happening is stressing me out. I kept in the zone, and then she went into pivot around. And then we countered her and said, nope, you can't do that. We kept repeating that, and eventually, she's like, let me try this with nip. That didn't work either. And then finally, she stopped moving. Right? That last one, other than moving that left leg or whatever, she stayed put. She didn't do anything else because she gave her like all.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the worst thing that she could do. And I still didn't back away, and I continued to do what I was, how to say, just touch her.
Yep.
And she's like, all right, well, this is pointless. Like, this is nothing that I can do about it. So when we do, like when I was talking about the muzzle and everything and socializing with people, that's what the muzzle is for.
Yep.
Right? So we can press things, but it would be a very structured process.
Yeah.
So we can try to work around that, and then I push the stuff with this, where it's like if she bites, no big deal. We corrected it, and then she was like, all right, well, I can't do that now. What's the next thing? Because we have 4 responses: fight, flight, avoid, and submission, right? She tried to avoid. I wasn't letting her. She can't run away because she's on a leash. That leads fight or just submit or acceptance, right? So she tried to fight real quick, and then that didn't work either. And then finally she was just like, all right, well, it's pointless to move. Can't run away. Can't bite back. What happens if I just allow it to happen? The answer is nothing.
Yeah.
Okay? Questions about that?
No, that was very interesting
To see?
Yeah.
Let's try one more. I would do a quick stay. And the reason why I had you remove himself is
she
because
could
she's
go up.
more vulnerable. Because now she's
yeah.
by herself.
Yeah.
Right? So with the stay command, like this for me is the least useful command.
Yeah.
But like I have a client whose dog, she's super anxious, nervous as well. And anytime somebody would walk by, the dog would tuck behind the owner and always be on the opposite side. And she's made great progress. So then I told her, because she lives just a few blocks from here, and she moved here now. And I told her, a place like this where there's a lot of traffic, if you see that your dog doesn't like the energy of the traffic, when you go to like a stop light, give the stay and separate yourself. And what you'll see is the dogs wanting to return because they don't like being isolated in that setting with a bunch of stuff going on, even though the owner's like 2 feet away, 3 feet away. It puts them under stress. And I just keep her there. And then once everything's, the light turns red or whatever, and I cross, come back, return, we go forward. And then gradually she learns to be within that energy, but not need the mom as a kind of security
As a
blanket.
guard, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So go into a heel, go into a stay, just a couple feet away. You'll do the same thing.
Yep.
And I'm gonna come in and touch.
Okay. Kirby. Heel.
Good.
Stay.
Good. You see already licking. Up. Tip. Up. Tip. Up. Tip. Tip. Tip.
Yeah. Do they go to Florida a lot?
Yep. Up, yep, yep. Yep, yep. There. So you can see all that low tension.
It's like,
that's
I
fine.
hate this.
You can see when like she relaxes a bit more,
Yeah.
because now there's no more twitching. Earlier when I was touching her, she was going like this with the nerves. And finally, when she settles completely, we don't get the movement, and we're not getting that that nervous twitch in the back. So you're just counting her each time. You're saying, nope, can't do it, can't do it, can't do it. And then she might give, another attempt at a nip or whatever to say back off. We correct it. We keep repeating. She's like, all right. So what she's learning now is there's really nothing to be nervous about.
Yeah.
Like I'm just touching her, right?
She's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what she's afraid of is the contact. So when I do like fearful, nervous cases, you have to force the contact, let them do what they're going to do, correct it, to settle them down.
Yeah, they have to experience it to be corrected.
Correct. Because most trainers, like, if they just muzzle the dog and they work around it, but
Yeah.
then it still remains an option because the dog's never able to actually put their mouth on something.
Yeah.
So that's what these tools come in for. So I come in, I'm like, all right, bite, have at it. And I can correct them for the act itself.
Yeah.
And the dog goes, I did bite them. They didn't back away. I got corrected. But then afterwards, nothing happened. And then that's how we start to turn things around.
Yeah.
Okay? So for us, we use this. For you guys with like friends and stuff, you'd use muzzle, and they kind of work side by side.
Yeah.
Okay? So in terms of the stay, the way I have my clients practice it is like, let's say you hit a red light. You can do a stay, practice with the red light. Maybe after she poops or something, you can pull up, put her in a sitting position, give her a stay, pick up the poop, in the back. Let's say you hit a trash can, stay, throw it away in the trash can, come back. Other than that, unless you have a means to use it, that's like,
The best, like,
yeah.
time.
I wouldn't set time like this to actually teach it. I just do it as you go along on your walks. Anytime you come to a stop sign, stoplight, whatever, like, well, I'll be here for a little bit, so I'll do the stay. If you notice, like, let's say earlier when the bikes came by from behind her, and I said, oh, she didn't like that,
Yeah.
right? Is, let's say you're by the lakefront with her and there's a parade of bikes coming by, I might do a stay and step away from her and just let them pass by. Creating, like I said with that previous client, where that being apart from the handler, not having that security and having all that stuff happening is a way to press the nerves as well.
Yeah.
So she might try to scoot back going too close, and nope, you gotta keep your butt there. Okay?
Yeah.
Other questions?
No, I think that's, I think that's a good tool.
What you can do too, if you're making really good progress, is you can blend this with your recall heel exercises.
Yeah.
So you can do a come uncalled, do a heel, go into a stay with your long leash. But when you start off with it, if you get there, start shorter and then work your way out.
Yep.
Don't just go stay and walk 30 feet away.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to build up to that.
And we have to be able to correct her. 'Cause otherwise, if you come, then you're like, I gotta go put you back.
Yes, and I
Those
don't
things.
do come from stationary positions. So
Okay.
I wouldn't say stay and move away, because you're going to create the problem of her assuming you're going to call her once you get so much distance away from her.
Yeah.
And then it creates something that you have to fix. So me personally, I only release dogs when I'm next to them from stationary positions, and I never do recalls from like sits downs or sits down place or stays.
Yep.
Because then you'll turn, and then you're doing this and she's already running because she's thinking you're going to call me anyways.
Yep.
Okay, so then we prevent creating that problem.
Okay.
Okay? Anything else?
No, that's really helpful. Anything else you
I'm good.
Good. All right. So if you need anything, you let us know.
Yep.
And then whenever you're ready, you can do the Zoom stuff. And I think we have to. Oh, and I can show you how I'd go about trying to do socialization like this exercises in a more appropriate, like we can do it with other people fashion. We'd need muzzle, and then I'd also bring high value treats, cheese, turkey, salami, whatever, and then we'll see if she'll take it. She might be too under stress that we don't get that, but then as we repeat it, you might find as she relaxes, she will take it, and that kind of gives you a visual of where she at in the mindset. Yeah. Because if she's too stressed, not taking the food, then we know she's not she's still
Very
tense. But then as you start to do it more often, and you start to see, she is taking food, that kind of lets you know that you're making progress. Okay?
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.